Friends and family, thank you for joining me here at the American News Network with Chris Sanders. Well, we have Spain going into total turmoil right now as we speak. The citizens of Spain are revolting against what they're calling an Islamic revolution. They're fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their culture. Sounds just like what's happening in Ireland. Sounds just like I remember in the 90s. We went to Norway and everything, and everybody was Norwegian. And today it's 33% Islamic. So Spain is going into an Islamic turmoil as we're speaking. Ireland, the United Kingdom, same boat. France, they've fallen to North Africa. This is the result of woke-tardism 101. Call it lefty, call it whatever. You could even say Japan's culture has been destroyed. Honto, Jodan Janayo, Ichiban Bakazne. There are people that should be doing harakiri, but they're not. The disgrace has somehow become the champion. What an interesting world. Trump gave Putin 50 days, so Putin's response was, well, fine, in 50 days I will completely take over the Ukraine. In the same time, we've had France and Italy defect saying, Trump, why are you all of a sudden giving Zelensky weaponry? And Zelensky's not the president. We've already put in a puppet. Now we're being obvious. And it stinks to the whole world, and it's because of our allegiance with Benjamin Netanyahu, but I guess we're putting Bibi first over America. Oh yeah, let's take this Jewish card to the bank and destroy America. Let's even ignore the Constitution where it said that Congress shall make no law regarding the establishment of a religion. But yet every dollar we give them establishes Judaism. And it's a war between Judaism and Islam that's being paid for on the backs of good old-fashioned Christians, and we're sick of it. So standing up for the Christians of Europe, from what we can see, the experiment of this unification woke ideology destroyed all these beautiful countries in Europe simultaneously. And only the leaders like Viktor Orban, who put a wall up around his country, was able to safeguard Hungary and keep it Hungarian, keep the culture, keep it clean. Moldova is a line. Poland has grown exponentially in and out almost as much as Russia has. But we have a war that's brewing and people are taking sides. I'm going to show you 30 different countries that have now unified against the ICC, International Criminal Courts. They've got a new convention with the Hague and 30 plus other countries. And if you think those 30 countries are that we're just going to kick them out, I want you to think of every relative you know that is related to those people. So, just overnight, we had Syria bombed by Netanyahu, just out of the blue, and he blows up the capital. And so MBS Assadi's like, hey, look, first Lebanon, then Iran and Syria. It's like, when are you going to stop? And is like America the bully on just whoever Benjamin Netanyahu haphazardly attacks? I mean, sure, you have the right to defend yourself. That means if they come to you. And I personally believe, as many do, that you orchestrated October the 7th just for a few $100,000, and we found even a trail of money back to people tied into us that have been executed. So whose line is it anyways? Well, I'll tell you something. Epstein's cellmate says that it is impossible for him to have done what he did in something that happened. I'll tell you something else. His cartilage in his ear changed, his profile changed, and the cadaver they removed was not Epstein, much like the person that they say was Osama bin Laden was not. That was a CIA extraction. I'll blame that on us. Just like this was an Epstein CIA Mossad extraction because of all the blackmail that I guess everybody's afraid of. The way Trump's handling it, he's afraid of it. The way Bondi's responding and Cash is responding and Bongino, we know that there are lies that are amiss, and it's disappointing. Ghislaine is ready to testify. She's ready to testify for real. You know, her dad was a major media mogul and everybody's stealing her assets while she rots away in jail. And of course, don't blame it on the people of Israel to be stealing her daddy's stuff that they were in business with. No, they played just all fine and dandy. But for some reason, even 50% of the judges that have gone after Trump have been from this same clan. Interesting, isn't it? Okay, Italy and France has abandoned Trump's recent help to Zelensky. They're like, no, you cut him off. We're going to agree with you. Cut him off. Why have you done a 180? Now, I said a 360 because I'm sitting there and I think he's sitting and spinning. And when you sit and spin, you become a jackwagon. Orange man good, don't become a jackwagon. Netanyahu loses ultra-Orthodox coalition collapse, and the Hague and the ICC and 30-plus countries have formed an alliance against Israel. And you could say, this is the team that's going to be against you and I. And we could say, bring it. And then I could say, hey, before you say that, America, I want you to think of everybody you know in America that has relatives from these countries, and then say that again. Because if that's the case, we've already been invaded. And if that's the case, and then that's our new strategy, we've already lost. Now, I'm just going to say this, and we have this leader that's down there in Africa, Troy, and he gave Netanyahu 78 hours to basically stop denigrating Africans. And Netanyahu laughed and scoffed at him in Africa. So he's united Africa against Israel as well. Again, are we supposed to put this guy in front of everything? Now I'm going to let you know he's under an investigation of $3.5 billion in fraud. It's quite a bit of money in fraud, if you ask me. And our tourism is in collapse, and our states are in a crisis that's here in America. And Germany was just told, they said, hey, okay, if you want to be like America and provide long-range gear that hits us in Moscow, even though you're going to produce it, Putin just came out and said it. He said, guess what? I'm just going to hit you directly in Berlin or München or wherever I have to. Two can play this game, and you're on my radar. At the same time, yesterday, Iran officially gave a nuclear bomb threat to Europe. Understand, they broke past Iron Dome. They said, oh, well, they figured out the hole. That hole is called China, folks. China's been giving them Houthi missiles. China has the satellite surveillance. In fact, it's sad that we let Israel have our satellite surveillance and our GPS, because they used it to blow up the capital of Syria. And that's not necessarily something that's acceptable. And I'm just going to say that, and that's what's going on, and we can't continue to hold up for that. I'm also going to let you know that when I was talking about this big, beautiful bill, that we were talking about some interesting things with that big, beautiful bill, and I said this would give the feds the right to raid all the cannabis dispensaries, and in fact, they have. In the state of California, 3 of the biggest dispensaries have been attacked by the federal agents at this time as we've zoomed back into 1998. The Rohrabacher bill has been changed, has been repealed. This was one of the things that Elon Musk was warning us about. It wasn't as the electric car. It's not what you think. It was Big Pharma paying off the administration. These are just facts that I'm going to bring to you. And these are shockers. But when we have basically Trump now working in tandem with Benjamin Netanyahu, we have the rebirth of Big Pharma, because that's how they survive. Now, how they pulled out of Afghanistan, well, like I said, he didn't pull out like Jackwagon Joe's dad should have. And then we might not have had that fiasco, but you never know. They seem to like picking these guys right as they're ready to be bound and wheelchaired into the old folks' home so that they're easily persuaded, and they don't really give a rat's ass about the outcome of stuff quite as much anymore. Go figure, but Trump's shocking U-turn on Russia and his threats, because he realizes that 50-day threat to Iran will not work the same. And Vladimir Putin, Vladdy P of the KGB, responded with 400 drones and about 1,000 missiles and blew the Ukraine to kingdom come. And he's threatened NATO and anybody else. He said, look what I'm doing. He goes, I'm doing this, and I'm also getting 4 more missiles daily for each one I shoot. For every one that you do, you've been going 2 weeks behind, and now you can barely say boo. And that's where we're at. We've depleted ourselves giving stuff, and patriots acting like the big guy to the Ukraine. We've tried to be the police state to Afghanistan, the Ukraine. Now we've spread ourselves thin over the places that we bombed into diminished, like Iraq, Syria, and now we're also going to fight a war in Israel, and every single person that Benjamin Netanyahu decides to blow up tomorrow. So congratulations, America. It's not just the Ukraine. It's Lebanon, it's Syria, it's Jordan, it's Iran, it's Iraq, it's Jordan, it's Egypt, it's Saudi Arabia, it's Turkey, and it's 2 billion Muslims that will get activated to destroy Europe, the United Kingdom, probably lots of cities inside of the United States. This is going to ignite something that America should pay attention to. I don't know why you don't see the Moorish influence when you look and see all the buildings in Spain and read El Cid and how the Muslim invasion has already happened. So this isn't the first time. This isn't the fool me once, this is fool me twice. Now what are you going to do about it? I honestly believe that if you listen to NATO and the EU, that Europe is gone. It's a catastrophe that has fallen. It has perpetuated the nonsense. It is not worth defending. It is woke. It is retardism. It is out-of-shape, blue-haired, multicolored, tattoo, fat, pudgy, nonsense garbage. The only thing that will save Europe is to bring it back to itself and America. The unify under Christ between Russia and the United States, 2 countries that believe in Jesus, and only those 2 strongest forces can reestablish the history of what Europe was. And that should be something that we should care about as Americans. But we're going to concentrate on Epstein instead of the future of Europe because of the blackmail that the Mossad has on President Trump and every one of these old farts that's been in office too long to serve you and I. They're a bunch of criminals. They're very bad actors. And there's crimes going on. Some technology just fell out of the sky and was apprehended by Russia. Came from the United Kingdom. They said this has to be a decoy, and it can do these certain things, but it's highly visible. And so now it's been apprehended, but they are trying to push buttons. And we see some very aggressive actions, and I want America to know that, against Russia from Germany and the United Kingdom. Those are the last two holdouts, and President Putin is calling them out first on his list to annihilate them because they're causing him the most grief. At the same time, I'm going to say that the Ukraine is lost. It was just a laundromat. It was Joe Biden's laundromat with Obama and the Clintons, much like the Clintons learned in Haiti, and much like they learned through Big Pharma work in Afghanistan for 20 some odd years. And I want you to understand, all the war in Afghanistan was us fighting for Big Pharma so we could grow opium in a country, in just that country, and so that they could have complete control on how you feel, how you have pain, and how you die. And that's a crime. So we fought that war for a couple decades to guard a poppy flower. And that flower is the state flower for the state of California. That makes it a sad tragedy when you could actually empower the American farmer to provide for Big Pharma. Bring us up out of the doldrums, give us a fighting chance. But no, you got to take it all and make it illegal here and make our boys fight a war over there where they get killed and blown up by landmines, where they can come back here, come back home, and live in a tent. And Putin's the bad guy, and I guess he is the bad guy because he doesn't have any homeless soldiers because he provides them all homes. But our system is so good that we follow a guy that just blew up Syria last night, that just put and scattered thousands of pagers throughout Lebanon where they blew up in children's hands. We want to say that maybe 377,000 people died in Gaza. I'm going to say maybe there's 300,000 alive still, and that we just helped Benjamin Netanyahu with our money kill and murder 1.3 million Palestinians. And you want to know where they are? Well, they're in the ruins of the houses that we've concussion bombed. This is technology Britain is using behind me to start World War III. I'm calling it out because it's been found. Russia destroys 80,000 drones and aerial targets that they have destroyed in this war alone. And they're growing. We are over 80 to 90% depleted. Even though we have Trump back in office, we still have not got on to manufacturing. We need to be truthful about what's going on and what we're making. This is a historic scandal. We need to go after Jack Smith. And if we don't have Benjamin Netanyahu removed within 72 hours, Texas and the oil fields will shut your oil down. So we want changes, and we want changes fast. You better kick it into high gear because the information about you guys and JFK is out. And the cards might fall a little differently, so I would hope, between us and Israel. In other news, the United States, we sent F-35 jets to annihilate some cartels that were hanging out around our border. They got their ass handed to them, something that they deserve. And it's going to come to you, son, should you bring any crap to our land. Because the parents and grandparents have had enough of your stuff, son. So to the ICE agents and the cops out there doing your job, prayers to you and your families. And to you that are breaking the law, well, hopefully we can stock some extra alligators around our new Alcatraz out there in Florida for you. I know that might be a business that I might get into, is raising alligators. Now, if you think that we're doing something different all of a sudden by going after Russia, then who made Hillary Clinton, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Trump think the exact same way? What do you mean, Chris? Well, what do I mean? I mean this.
Well, the question was, if Iran were to launch a nuclear attack on Israel, what would our response be? And I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will...
This is like the oldest, this is the oldest ploy. I'm going to tell you, I've heard about this Iran nuclear story since the day that Israel killed Kennedy, so that just they would have them to influence us through the media. So this is all Jewish media, George Soros stuff, a spin that they could use because the Jews get into a war perhaps about 6 months before our elections. You can study it back through time. And since we've listened to the Ukraine, and since we've listened to Israel, and since we pulled out badly, you know what they call people that use the pull-out method, right? Parents. Anyways, we pulled out badly in Afghanistan, and as such, we were run into the hole, into the mire, you might say. And this is the state of California. They're looking like they're going into bloody civil war between the Protestants and the Catholics, but in fact it's illegals and legals. And I guess it's under control. But they're busting pot farms. I told you they were going to be able to do that. This is some of the proof. And on accident, they killed a guy. But we have kids, even illegal kids, 22 illegal aliens, 15, 14 illegal alien kids working on them pot farms. Wow, you're just giving Uncle Sam all the ammunition they need. They already got the funding with the big beautiful bill, but I'm wanting you to know that we might go back into the anti-marijuana legislation completely. And I would see this and see they're attacking the stronghold of American legalization, which would be where the birth of legalization happened. Good old state of California since 1988 with Proposition 215 made by Dennis Barone, which became California Safe and Health Code 1136 2.5, which then spawned on SB 420 throughout the United States so that everybody could do what they needed to do. Now, with the big beautiful bill, the federal government has the rights and the resources, and a lot more resources at that, to go after marijuana facilities, and illegal aliens. So congratulations in not reading all the fine print and all the dispensaries over the next 90 days. You shall see your laws dramatically changing. So the truth bomb about what's going over is that this is going to be very magical, and this isn't just a cop raid. These are ICE raids that are happening at pot dispensaries. So you're going to be seeing ICE, federal government, federal guns, federal equipment like the military coming after dispensaries and grow operations. I expect that they'll attack Oregon, Washington, Colorado, and then come over into New Mexico and Oklahoma. And that'll be how they will play chess with the scenario. But we have basically a civil war that is being disseminated before our eyes in the state of California. Of course, you could say that that's not the case, and I could say, oh, is that what you're saying? Well, you have a governor that's out there calling Trump bad. This is the way the cops are responding. This is the way they're looking and defending the towers. This is the guy that died, by the way. And he died from ICE being used to go after a marijuana facility where it's been legal for 27 years. Now, I'm going to let you know that we've had the largest earthquake swarm on record happening. We got Mount Rainier and Hood and all these other ones coming up. So as we're unsteady on the top, oh, she's unsteady down low too. We're all interconnected. Little Kim of North Korea wanted America and Japan to know a statement, and he said, part of the reason why I hate your guts is because of Benjamin Netanyahu. So let me get this clear. Let me get this clear. You mean North Korea, you wouldn't mind us so much, but you just hate the genocide from North Korea? I think America needs to know that. So North Korea even wouldn't be a threat to us so much if we weren't kissing Benjamin Netanyahu's butt. So he has unified North Korea, Russia, and China. And I don't even think Russia really wants to get on board, but come on. We just annihilated and funded the annihilation of Palestine through uneducated bluffing of guys that aren't even Jews, pretending to be Jews, going past even the laws that we know that you're supposed to treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated yourself. As we watch these European pretendo Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews, go from Europe, take over land down in Palestine, and blow up their neighbors. That's not treating your neighbor the way you want to be treated at all. That's not loving thy neighbor. That's not following the laws, even the commandments. And just so you know, America, we got 10 commandments. They got 365 good ones, 248 bad ones, 613 commandments, and they're not listening to them. So then, as it says in Revelation 2:9-3:9, when a group of Jews would pretend that they're Jews and not be Jews, but be the synagogue of Satan and come back and deceive everybody. Well, they're pagans. Yes, they are that. They are going to do the third red heifer. They're going to be doing it. They did a practice ritual just recently. They found where the official ancient temple was. And it wasn't rocket science. It was tracing the Gihon Springs, rock by rock, up through the city of David, until the old place in the temple of Melchizedek was revealed. And they say when they build this, and when the Hamashiach, and Messiah, comes from the Mount of Olives from one side, from the east to the west, that it will be that time. Israel is the cancer, and this is something that little Kim wanted the United States and Japan to know. North Korea is now a proxy brother with Russia. This is good and bad because, again, understand, I believe that our true enemy out there is not Russia. It's probably not even North Korea, now that I know that his true fisticuffs is with Benjamin Netanyahu. Not even with Jews, just with this Benjamin Netanyahu. We need to drop Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm asking the Brotherhood of Love to drop his ass and drop him fast, or we're not going to stand united. And that's a promise, son. I don't want to watch us fall. I want to watch us live. And Alamus, he died growing pot, killed by the federal government. Even though we've been having this legalized for 27 years, I'm letting you know this because it's unacceptable. If you want to go and kill people, please go kill the drug dealers and the people that are not working. Don't kill the guy mowing my lawn. Kill the people that are sitting on their asses collecting paychecks and that are acting tough on street corners. When I see this surveillance from the sky and there's only 40 thugs standing off to our cops, those are the people you need to get the lead out of your butts and handcuff and zip tie those scumbags, idiots. Or is that too hard for you to comprehend, or is it just that they're the same people working for George Soros constantly, or Gavin Newsom, or some political party funded by the other side to destroy America? Well, that's what we see. Look at this. We only see like the same amount of dissidents against the same amount of armed enforcement agents. Well, then why don't you just get the lead out of your butts and make something happen? That's what I'm going to say. And that's what I'm going to say big time. Now, oil's going to rise. We got a new attack on the site. And the attack that we're having that's going on is all the oil fields in Iraq are getting burned again. Iran's going to shut off oil to a lot of people, including France, including Italy. Like, stay out of the game, cool it. All you Europeans with the say-so, shut your mouths. Concentrate on living tomorrow. Concentrate on your borders and how safe you are at home in your own country. So we are in a drone nightmare. We're hit for the third time in 72 hours in Iraq right now. These are our bases. Our bases are, and our soldiers are getting hit as we speak. Another interesting story, I don't know why he's not been apprehended or in jail, but Tim Waltz is found to be connected to a person that killed Melissa Hortman. And then that shooter testified and said that Tim Waltz had contacted him to actually kill other people and that he was working directly for Tim Waltz. And under state law, the governor appoints hundreds of people to dozens, if not hundreds of boards across the state, ranging in different topics. And Barrett Leone asks a political expert about the likelihood of how much the alleged shooter knew Senator John Hoffman and Governor Tim Waltz, okay? Now, the reason is because this was a Tim Waltz appointee who then goes around shooting people, who says that he's got extensive evidence saying that he's Tim Waltz's assassin. Pretty major stuff. I really don't know why Tim Waltz has not been apprehended when he is a criminal and he's a threat to society. So we have, again, like I said, here we go, million-man army, 2 sinking ships, and Benjamin Netanyahu has basically united Africa to go against him. So we have the people of Tel Aviv, and now they've been hit. They've been hit pretty hard. And they're uniting out on the streets, and I wanted you to see this. Ahmed Shadamut, Shadamut Ahmed Yahudi Hadamut. And they are very upset at the number one Shadamut Yahudi. And his name is Benjamin Netanyahu. His name is Pablo Escobar Netanyahu. And these are the people of Israel on the streets saying exactly what I am saying, and that is we need to get rid of Benjamin Netanyahu today. He's a threat to Israel. He's a threat to America. He is the world enemy of the world. And even the people of Israel stand united with me in saying this. So if you are unaware and thinking I'm anti-Israeli or no, I'm standing with the people here. I'm saying exactly what this guy's saying on the microphone behind me. We need to get this warmonger out of office before he destroys all of us. He doesn't represent any of the rules, any of the laws, and just so you know, he's got 72 hours. You have 72 hours. We're going to shut off all of our oil and gas from Israel, and you can sit there and quake because we cannot have you ruin our country because you're being run by a political criminal that is now recognized by way too many countries, and it has gone on way too far. So we have the people of Israel in Tel Aviv, and they want everybody to know that they stand behind Chris Sanders and exactly what he's saying, and that Benjamin Netanyahu is a dangerous war criminal that is killing children on both sides. And Trump, you should not follow him or listen to this man because he is a horrible, evil monster. So these are some countries that have been blackballed from America and that have signed an alliance against us. And not just the Muslims, entire countries. Algeria, Bangladesh. I want you to think of all the Indians, people you know that say they're from Bangladesh. These are now our enemies because we stand behind Netanyahu. Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, China, Cuba, Djibouti, Honduras, Indonesia, Ireland. Who would have thought? Ireland. Lebanon, Malaysia, Namibia, Nicaragua, Oman, Portugal, and Spain. Let that sink in. Portugal and Spain united against us. Qatar, Turkey. These are founding members of NATO. Turkey was number 2 in NATO. They're now against us purely because of the criminally run Israeli government with the tools of the American military is out of hand. You need to change dictators and change it quickly. Turkey. Turkey's going to use all of our United States military equipment against us to slam us back into the dark ages. St. Vincent's and the Grenadines, Uruguay, Botswana, Iraq. Why did we waste our lives in Iraq and do all that time just to have Netanyahu destroy it? Why did I lose all my friends in Desert Storm just to watch this Jew destroy the lives of all my childhood friends that never got to turn into be men? Libya, Mexico. Even our neighbors in Mexico are now our enemies. Norway, Pakistan, Palestine, Slovenia, Venezuela. And the list grows on daily. He's destroying Israel, just like the same Nazi, destroyed the Ukraine. These are Jewish wars that we're fighting. We're fighting a Jewish war in the Ukraine. We're fighting a Jewish war in Israel. And it's not for the right to defend themselves. It's the right to just defend their own. That's it. You're scum. And if you live too close to them, you're dead. Now, I don't know why we support that kind of stuff if we believe in the freedom of religion, the freedom of identity expression in who you are. Then why would we back something that's just against us all? Well, these are the people of Israel, as they stand united because they know that there's a cancer that is even destroying what they originally stood for from the beginning. Benjamin Netanyahu, you must go. America, this is your notice. And Africa has given Benjamin Netanyahu 72 hours. And so now you can throw Africa and 2 billion Muslims into the mix and think about the future of Europe and the United States. Like I'm telling you, there is only one way to save this catastrophe. And that is to drop Zelensky, drop our games in the Ukraine, drop Netanyahu, say get a new leader, get him fast. And publicly deal with those two warmongers. Don't let them just move to Miami and live out their days in luxury. Let them answer for their war crimes. Then and only then might we reestablish peace. And if it is an eye for an eye, remember that the Jews and the Muslims still go by the old law, so let them have it their way. And that will be fair. There's been enough murder that has happened, and I want you to see the streets of Tel Aviv. And this is Tel Aviv behind me. These are Jews that do not like Netanyahu. They hate his guts. They know he's a war criminal. They know that all he does is represent the destruction of the beauty of what was put together in Tel Aviv and in Palestine and Iran. because this guy is trying to cover his footprints of crime. He's looking at $5.3 billion in fraud that was exposed by the Israeli government, the CIA out there. Then he even blew up his own building. I believe he orchestrated October the 7th. We've then blew up those counterparts that are tied back to us. Don't tell me that 4 paragliders were worth the destruction and the murder of 2 million people. This is political theater. America bought into it. They knew they had us by the media. They had us by the last administration. Wake up. Okay? These are just the victims of criminals. And again, get rid of Netanyahu or we will get rid of Israel. And that is the new word from Africa. There's a man down there named Troy, and he is a leader, and he is unifying all of Africa together to murder all of Israel if they don't get rid of Netanyahu immediately. I'm telling you also in the United States, I do not want to supply him with any more oil. I do not want to back any of his destruction. You need to find a new leader. We need to take care of our own. We have enough homeless out on the streets. I think that we could also say that we're all being punished and God's speaking out. Pay attention to the signs, and when we allow destruction, we do get hit ourselves. This is not America. These are not fireworks, and this is nothing that we need to back. I believe Jeffrey Epstein is still alive. He's a Mossad agent. Trump let it out of the bag when he said, this Jeffrey Epstein guy that never dies. See, nobody said that, but Trump did. Go look it up and understand. He let it out of the bag and he knows he's still alive. So, you're wondering what Netanyahu did yesterday. So what he did yesterday, this girl was talking on the news. This is a live reporter, and as she's talking on the news, giving her country's news, Israel blows up the Capitol. Okay? There it is. It's getting blown up. And poor girl. And you got to think about all the innocent bystanders and the people that have nothing to do with war, which is most of us. And look at the power of the United States that Israel is using in other countries. We cannot continue to fund this. This is another guy that was doing some commentating. So Israel bombs the capital of Syria. So this war isn't just Iran, it's Lebanon, Syria, Iran. This guy lies to us. He's trying to take over the entire Middle East, the entire Arab nations. He's trying to destroy everybody of Amalek, everybody. This is not our war. Look at the destruction of today. This was today. So can we keep up with Netanyahu? This is not America, but then we follow him in everything he does. So we wake up today and, I guess everybody in Syria is our enemy. Them Syrians are bad. Last month it was them Lebanese. After them pagers went off, how dangerous those Lebanese people must be. I mean, after all, Israel gave them those pagers that are explosive. Couldn't be doing that to people that are just people. I mean, kids are dying. Them Lebanese people are dangerous. Them Syrians are dangerous. Them Iranians are, everybody everybody Israel is attacking is dangerous. We're lucky they're not next to Mexico, or they'd have blown up Mexico a long time ago. You know how dangerous the Mexicans are, right? When are you going to get it? Wahalote. This is racism and genocide, and we cannot be attached to it, period. I think we want to live in peace. We want to live in love. And how do we do that when we're standing behind a war criminal? So now I'm going to talk about something fun. We just had a 7.3 magnitude earthquake off of this area, that red dot right there behind me. And what I want you to pay attention to is how we could get a tsunami to hit Oregon and Washington in that area. So the 7.3 is right here in this area here. And it's pretty deep, but this is a major one. Now, something I'll tell you too is we don't just get 1 7. We're going to get 3 of them. The thing that concerns me is that we got Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Hood filling up full of magma, been doing it. Each one of them have gotten roughly 24 eruptions an hour for the last several days as magma is moving into the chambers. So we got that, and Yellowstone National Park, a super volcano. It's been getting the same type of fill up and occasional eruption, pre-eruption signs. For that, I'd say look at Mary Greeley news on the Yellowstone supervolcano. But as far as what's going on here, I think we have a tsunami alert that could be very major. Now, if we can zoom on into where I want to, which is basically off the coast of Alaska, and we're going to get there in just a second. But what I want you to notice is if it was a rock that was dropped into a pool, you got to think about those waves that could ripple. And from this angle, what I was seeing is we could have something hit, possibly Oregon, Washington from here. So again, if we're having this as the epicenter, I see how we could get something hit pretty much the west coast, all the way even into California. So I'm trying to tell us this is ideal tsunami situation right here. So for the next 48 hours, I would say don't surf and try to be very cautious on the beaches, all the way from Canada, all the way down the Baja. We don't know how bad it could get. This just happened in the last couple of hours, so I knew that I didn't have to immediately get on the air. But we got to wait for those waves to hit the west coast. They could hit us at night. They could hit us in the morning. We don't know, because we don't know how much inertia was moved as soon as the 7.3 went off. And of course, it wasn't instantaneous, but there were several major jiggles that happened, and one of those could carry a bigger wave than the other ones. So this is just stuff I'm telling us that I want us to pay attention to. And it was followed by several other smaller ones. And that brings me up to what a tsunami is, and I'm going to close with Poseidon and what a nuclear war could actually look like with Russia. Now, I've been talking about the most powerful nuclear weapon ever created. There's 2 of them. One of them is the Sarmat 2, the Satan 2. And the other one is the Poseidon. This is Putin's nuclear torpedo. Now, he has it in 25, 50, 100, 150, 200 megaton delivery payloads. The Tsar bomb was the most powerful bomb ever invented, and he's got payloads that are 2, 3, 4, and 5 times bigger than the largest bomb ever detonated. I want you to think about that. And he's got 15 nuclear torpedoes in the northern hemisphere and 15 in the southern hemisphere. And so you could be walking and just going along the beach one day and driving to work, and Trump and someone else could be pissing Putin off, saying, hey, we're going to, we really want to back Benjamin Netanyahu. We don't care that he bombed Syria and Iran or Pluto and Nigeria tomorrow. We're going to back that jackwagon, period, because he's got so much damn blackmail on us from all of our perverted actions with Jeffrey Epstein. We're going to do whatever he says. What? I mean, what else could be the truth? I don't know. You tell me. But we followed this weird 180. I say a 360 because he's just sitting there spinning like a normal politician. Spin Dr. Crap, which is total crap in my opinion. So we do a 180. We go from not helping Zelensky to now we're helping Zelensky. We go from not backing Netanyahu and not a peace plan to then he's like, okay, well, if I'm not going to do shooting in Gaza and we're going to do a ceasefire in Gaza, well, then I'm going to blow up Syria. That's how this guy thinks. He's got to kill every day. He's addicted to it until the day he dies. So you got to say to him specifically, no, Ben, you can't kill anybody for a week. Because he's going to say, President Trump, but you just said to Gaza, I can't have a ceasefire in Gaza. And it was like, Then he goes and he blows up Iran. And we try to do, but Ben, can you stop? Can you stop? Can you stop and stop blowing up Iran? Okay. Yeah. And he goes back over and blows up Gaza. Hey, Ben, can you stop, please? Just stop. Oh, okay. And then he goes and blows up Syria. So you had to tell Benjamin Netanyahu, can you not blow up any countries, period, for a week? Just stop it. Can you be nice? Or are you the synagogue of Satan? Do you just really let all the pedophiles and perverts hang out there? Do you collect all the pedophile perverted stuff? Do you really just have us all on blackmail? And is that why the United States of America is operating like a corrupt government that's out of control and wicked? Because I would like for us to represent the right side. I would like for us to do what is right, and I would like for us to treat our neighbors the right way. I'm speaking on behalf of all parents here, and I don't care what faith you are. If you're Christian, Muslim, Hindu, black, purple, or green, can you just do unto others the way that you want done to yourself? So this is the way that Poseidon could look one day. This is the way the end of our nation could look. It's not going to be a bomb. It's going to be a nuclear wave, cobalt wave of Poseidon. He's already laid this down on the west coast, the east coast, with his incredibly large submarines, the Belgorod. The axe is at the base of the tree. And for every bravado act you say, we could get hit with a tidal wave of disaster, a cobalt wave of Poseidon nuclear disaster. Again, these waves are almost not going to do the justice of the size of the tsunami that we're going to look at with a 200 megaton nuclear torpedo. When he went into Cuba with a loud submarine and a loud tanker, I was like, Belgorod's right there. We just don't see her because he's taken his loudest equipment in to shield everything he's doing. Some of you know what I'm talking about. 99% of you are oblivious. But the axe is at the base of the tree, and Poseidon is laying at our shores. We need to stop helping Benjamin Netanyahu out tomorrow. You need to stop helping out Zelensky tomorrow. You need to do smart things, like concentrating on the Panama Canal, restricting China and its trade right in our own backyard, policing our own border, getting all these creeps out of our own country, reestablishing security for Asia, Japan, Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines. Stick to your responsibilities that you have already. Because last I checked, we went and killed everybody in Iraq, and we weren't smart enough to use Saddam Hussein's oil to pay off their debt and our debt, and we left the place looking like a hell hole. So we've proved that we're not responsible enough to take over any country, and we've proven over the last 40 years that we don't know how to rebuild. And so my prayer is that we all learn a trait and we learn how to rebuild in the name of America. And we stop being the police state of the world and we concentrate on our achievements and what we can do together instead of our differences that will tear us apart. God bless each and every one of you. Thanks for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Understand that on apps we are a major news network and soon to be on various radio stations, and I'll be commentating on the Washington Nationals. And that's going to be something I'm going to like because it doesn't have to deal with death and destruction. And in between drilling, that's going to give me something to at least relax about. Don't forget to hug those you love and tell everybody that you do love, that you love them. God bless and amen.